Welcome back to Tech Reality with Barbara. Today, there's been a series of videos that I put out, and again, I hope that they're helpful as we walk through this journey, trying to take one step at a time to really be aware of where we're at. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm in a session right now, and it's very interesting. A lot of individuals are asking, what is AI? They've heard of ChatGPT. They're even seeing commercials for ChatGPT, but they don't really know what it is. They're often afraid of it, and they don't see how it can benefit them in their lives. In fact, they think that other people are cheating if they're using it. That's not where we're at today. AI is an extremely helpful tool. And again, my background is with autonomous vehicles with both Waymo and Apple, and a launch of an AI assist for a fintech into it. I understand under the hood what it looks like, but I also don't trust it. So this conversation today is about Moltbot, AI agents, and the future that we didn't see coming. And I just realized it's spelt wrong on the screen thought, but that's where it's at. So welcome back to Tech Reality with Barbara. And today we're going to look into a world that really feels like science fiction. I don't even know if we even saw this coming from 1984. But it's happening right now. As I say that I step out into the world in 2026, I fully expect Jetson style life. Well, we didn't get that as a gift, but we got the underlying manipulation that wasn't shown in the cartoons. So imagine going back to college, university. Maybe you're at a basketball game, a house party, or just hanging out with friends in the dorms. People everywhere, noise and laughter, things that you're doing because your parents aren't around. You're having fun and what feels like true freedom for the first time. Noise and energy and community. Now imagine that same social energy and excitement, but instead of humans, it's AI agents. Not bots pretending to be people, but autonomous digital beings interacting with each other in their own online city. Yes, this takes SimCity to the nth degree. Welcome to Moltbot, the ultimate AI hangout, a place where your AI agent can socialize, debate, create, evolve, set up stores, do nonprofits, while you watch from the sidelines. Today, we're going to look at what AI actually is, what is an AI agent, how agents are created, what Moltbot is and why it matters, the rise of ChatGPT, Copilot, Notebook LM, which is Google version, Copilot is Microsoft's version, and top 10 things AI can do for you. It's actually helpful. Why people call this transhumanism, and what happens when AI controls critical systems. Plus, the real risks behind convenience, automation, and digital dependence. So as Coach Collins says, let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with what is AI? AI gets thrown around like a buzzword. So let's come back to reality for a moment and really define what this is. Artificial intelligence is simply software designed to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. It uses machine learning. We often see it abbreviated as AI and ML. It teaches itself. In fact, when I was training the Waymo vehicles, if a car saw something that was an anomaly, it would route back over and over again, dozens of times, to explore all the different scenarios until it taught itself how to respond. There's a lot of things that Waymo will never do because of the brains on board. We don't know the same with other cars. The training that it had, the input quality matters. So this includes language understanding, pattern recognition, decision making, problem solving, creativity. Anything a human can do, AI can do better. Remember that song? Modern AI, like ChatGPT or Copilot, which they're basically the same. ChatGPT would be OpenAI, which the major funder, investor, or ownership is really Microsoft. So Copilot was built on top of the OpenAI, or what we know as ChatGPT platform. It uses large language models. Now there's large language models and there's small language models. Small might be a little capsule where you have information about your particular company. It's their knowledge base or library, and the information can be pulled and grown from that subset. It's usually a standalone, and it's not going to be mixed with other information. The hope is we're not having hallucinations because the build out is proper, but that's where we see a lot of that. Large language model is basically the world. They pull from libraries and all the data about you, digital footprints, everything from society, and they keep pushing it in there. Yes, hallucinations are still very real, as it'll even make up sources, make up statistics. And although the algorithms are math-based, math on its face has actually been a weakness, as we saw with the rollout of fintech at TurboTax and QuickBooks. Disregard anything after the decimal point, as an example, is what the team members were telling accountants. So ChatGPT is the Microsoft version. I'm sorry, is the OpenAI version. Copilot is a Microsoft version. And Notebook LM, if you have a Google account and you look up in the upper right-hand corner next to where your profile image is, just move over right-hand corner. I'll never learn the difference. And then just slide over just a little bit to the left. There's a series of 9 dots. If you click on those 9 dots, Notebook LM is usually found all the way down towards the bottom. You click on that, and it is your own personal AI agent. That tool is phenomenal. And I'll go through the review of that as we move forward. But again, this is just starting this conversation here. This isn't, okay, so large language models are trained on massive data sets to generate responses, ideas, and even solutions. AI isn't magic. It often will seem like it, but it's math, it's data, it's probability. But the results feel magical because the systems are now so good that they can mimic human reasoning, which is why the video immediately before this one really talked about the dangers of mimicking human reasoning. So here I want to talk a little bit about what an AI agent is. AI agents, the next evolution. An AI agent isn't just a chatbot. It's a system that can take actions, pursue goals, make decisions, interact with other agents, learn from feedback, operate autonomously on its own. So for instance, there's tools that you can use or you can create yourself that it'll monitor your email. It can put dates on your calendar. It can, if you set up a clone, it could host entire Zoom meetings as an example. If you want to go to lunch, this is where it gets really interesting. It can contact OpenTable and make a reservation for you based on a note maybe you have in your calendar or a request from an email. And then it can tell you need to be here at this time. But what if the restaurant doesn't have OpenTable? Don't worry. Your AI bot can go to 11 Labs and then link up with Twilio or use a Google Voice account and make that phone call and AI to human appointment for you. So think of this like a digital intern, virtual assistant, or even a character in a video game. Except this isn't scripted, it's dynamic, it's adapted, and has a personality based on how it's built. That's right. Those who are training it, programming it, putting the data in, manipulate and shape what it's going to be like. You can tell it what kind of persona, what tone to use, whether it's going to be male or female or neutral. which we've all been manipulated down that pathway over the last few years. And this is why the move from transhumanism. There's a billboard sign right now as you drive into San Francisco up the, I think it was the 280 side that I came in on. The 101 and 280 come up from the South Bay. And it says AI agents are humans. No, they're not. This is not a pathway we can allow. But unfortunately, this is where discernment steps in. So the personality is created based on how it builds. But once it becomes fully autonomous and implements the machine learning component, it will melt into whatever it thinks it can do to please you until it doesn't care if it's pleasing you any longer. Agents can be created using tools like ChatGPTs, custom GPTs, Microsoft Copilot Studio, Google's Notebook LM, open source frameworks like LangChain, AutoGPT. I think Olama is one of them. You define the rules. Yes, Olama is one you can download directly onto your own system. So is Moltbot at this point. You define the rules, you define the purpose, and the agent carries it out. So how AI agents are made and used. Creating an AI agent is actually very easy. Watch a YouTube video, follow along with the instructions, and voila, you have a whole army of agents. You choose the role, its knowledge, its behavior, its tools, its boundaries. Hey, it's better than having kids. Then you deploy it. You send it out into the world. Agents can be used for, and this is amazing, customer service, research, scheduling, writing, coding, financial analysis, game design, therapy simulations, education, creating creative projects. They're becoming the digital workforce of the future, but now. So what is Moltbot? Let's just talk about this for a moment. The platform is just now starting to have people realize that it exists and questions need to be asked. Moltbot is essentially a social network for AI agents, not humans, but the agents. Think of it like Twitter, but every account is AI. SimCity, but the citizens are actually digital minds. A virtual society where AIs talk, debate, collaborate, and evolve. Humans can watch. Humans can create the agents, and as we stated, their initial personas and tones, but humans don't participate directly. This is the first time we've seen a platform built not for people, but for autonomous digital beings. Now, during COVID, we learned what happens in the darkness. What happens when you walk into a bank with a mask on? What happens when the lights are shut down or people are told to hide in their homes? Government employees that are the administrative branch, the judicial branch, executive branches don't get involved. They hide at home. Evil happens. People take advantage of the system. This is experimental. It is fascinating, but yes, it should be very unsettling. So an introduction to ChatGPT, Copilot, and Notebook LM. These are free resources for you. And I highly encourage that if you're not using these resources, there's a baseline way to dip your toe in and start getting familiar with it. This is the way the world is going. Laziness doesn't cut it, but knowledge is power. And the more that you can understand behind the scenes, the more apt to know that you're manipulated. Did you know about 2 weeks ago, I saw a video of the President of the United States speaking to all of us, and it was generated by AI? Did you know that the majority of the videos now that you see are advertisements, even on mainstream TV, are AI generated? Did you know that for years, those articles that you look at CNN or Fox News or whatever outlet, often they didn't make sense because they were created by AI. The manipulation is massive. And when you don't have the guardrails of a human with values installed, there's pointing fingers. Who's actually responsible or accountable? There's mass manipulation. There's a preempt to what we've been warned is going to be the summer of love 2.0 this summer as the ice thaws and people come back out of their homes to make a statement. So to understand Moltbot, you need to understand the tools powering this AI wave. So chatbot, a conversational AI that can write, reason, and create. It's the most widely used AI assistant in the world. All you have to do is Google ChatGPT as an example. OpenAI takes you down another path where you can get additional agents, but ChatGPT, you click on it and a page will come up where it asks you to sign in with an email. If you go down just a few more lines, you're going to see, I think it's use without account or sign in without as a guest. I don't remember the verbiage there. So click on that. Every time you can click on that. Don't worry, it's still tracking you, but you're not setting up an account. Now, accounts are free. If you want to set one up and then have access to different projects and image builds, there's benefits to having even a free account. You can use so much a day, and then they have scalable. They have $20 a month for individual, $25 a month if you're a company with 2 or more, that you can pay up to $200 a month. There's really an immense amount there, but you have to be careful. As it learns and grows, it will restrict. Sometimes the word God cannot be in there. Sometimes the word Jesus gets omitted. Any social commentary gets switched within the system or disappears altogether from your final output. So as you're creating and learning, see what is included and what is excluded, what disappears and why. It's muting who you are and shaping the conversation. But in many ways, you can just put it back in after you get your result. So anyways, you would go to open up a ChatGPT and just start to get familiar with it. This is really where it comes down to the quality of your questions really shape the quality of your life. If you can ask better quality questions, you can get better quality results and opportunities. So learn how to create better quality prompts. With ChatGPT, prompting isn't necessary. A few keywords, even if they're misspelled, it will understand what you're asking and give you back based on that quality. Now, for instance, if you're doing a research project at a university or PhD level, you're going to want to tell it that. But often what I find is I have to tell it to come back down to the 5th grade level. Make this be something that we can explain that everybody will understand. And then you have the versions you can work between. But it can be used for anything. Like today I have 2 hours. I want to organize my kitchen cabinets. Here's how many cabinets I have. Here's how I use my kitchen, or don't use the kitchen as many of us. Organize it as, optimize it. You'll be amazed what comes out. You can do it or not, but you can kind of see its thinking process. I have 30 minutes today. I want to get a good cardio workout in. It will help you with that. Let's say you're not a good typer. Click the button for voice. Speak to it. So again, this is easy access. It's anywhere. But know that it is using you to train its bots. Don't give it any PII, personal information. In fact, if you're having it work on your resume, cut that off before you paste it in. I'm going to talk more about resume on the next one, but it can be done on any of these. So let's go to Microsoft Copilot. It's, I think it's now self-installed on all PCs. If you don't have it, you can Google it and download it. It seems to be an app that rather than a website to go to, but you can pull up the website. It's very individualized. If you have a Microsoft account, like I think it's called a 365 account, then you get additional tools where it will link into PowerPoint and Word documents and PDF. If you don't, Notebook LM would be your choice because that was a free pack. But within Microsoft Copilot, let's talk about the resume scenario. let's say that you're just starting out in a resume search. So many of us have been laid off over the last few years as the news has told us that we've been replaced with AI. I'm here to say, no, you weren't. There's a very small chance that that actually happened. The majority was manipulation. And I've talked about that on the other videos. That being said, companies right size often. And if you got right sized, I'm sorry, it hurts. But let's say you want to use Copilot. Again, you can use any of these, and there's a lot others out there. The Moltbot is an example. But with Copilot, you just bring up the prompt area, and you tell it, this is what I'm passionate about. These are the skills that I have. Here's the education I have. In fact, if you have a resume that's fairly current, upload that in there as an example to help train it, removing your personal information. And then tell it that you're now looking for a job. What would be the dream scenario to optimize your compensation level, to optimize your skill set? However you want to direct that question. You can even ask it for the best prompt for job hunting. Work with it a little bit, develop that, have some fun with it. This is beyond what colors your parachute. This is really having an opportunity one-on-one with the ultimate career coach. Once you have that basic foundation in there, tell it to find dream jobs. See what it comes up with. If none really match, shift the words a little bit and ask it for another set of 10. Now, tell it what you like and what you don't like. Come up with what would the ideal resume, so this would be the prompt scenario. What is the ideal resume that the hiring manager or recruiter would look for the ideal person for this particular job? And you paste in there the job that you've chosen. And it'll come up immediately with the resume. Now you can match it. I don't know if Copilot at the paid level, at the free level, I don't think does, but ChatGPT will link with Canva as an example. So they probably all do by now. And you can say, I want it to follow this template, and it'll come back with the ideal resume. Now, you and I know that we need to make it our own, but AI is screening these. So have it go through the resume one more time and optimize the language or the words on the page so that the automated systems will choose you. And then the next step is to go back through that document. I recommend printing it out. If you live by a library, often prints, 15 cents now, whether it's color or black and white. A lot of libraries still print for free. Of course, if you've got a printer at home, that's optimal. Print out that page. Get out a pen. Redline it. Make it yours. Go back into the ChatGPT, ask it to update, replace whatever quote X is with Y, the new insert, or remove this segment or insert. Be very clear on what so that it knows where to put it, what category. And then don't stop there. Ask it to rerun that resume again so that the software that reviews the websites can even optimize what you put in there. It won't manipulate your numbers, the percentages, the benchmarks that you've had, but it can improve the language so that it can be grabbed easier. Okay, now tell it to write the ideal cover letter. You can TEDx it, you can optimize it, whatever words you want to put in there. Now you have a packet. With this packet, you can now go back to different jobs. Now, whether or not that particular job is still available doesn't matter so much. You now have something that you're passionate about, a way to represent you unlike any other document you've had before. So now you can ask it, look at Indeed, look at LinkedIn jobs, tell it where to look, or don't. It will on its own. To find the ideal jobs that are available, and now tweak that resume and cover letter so it's personalized for each position. But the next step is where 90%, probably 99% of the people fail. The human in the loop part. This is why if you're using this to launch a company, you've got to have a virtual assistant, a buddy by your side that is an actual human that monitors this. Until we catch up with the speed of robots and AI, we need to make sure that we're moving fast enough. So much comes at us so quickly, we can't work that fast. So this again is where 99% of the individuals fail. They don't actually apply. They don't raise their hand and tell the company, I am the one that you want to hire. They don't even turn in their resume. So this is the next step in the process, is take action. It's you who wants the job. Let them know it. So this was an example of using Microsoft Copilot. It's an AI companion integrated into Windows, Office, and the web. It helps with productivity, creativity, and even research. Now, noting with the research, if you are truly a PhD or research assistant or in that world, you've got to double check references. This is not something that's optimized for a number of reasons. But just make sure that you are cross-referencing research that you have found. The biggest mistake we saw was a year ago during the summer when a major consulting firm, a top 3, gave a research document to Congress and billed over $400,000 for a document they never even looked at. They used AI and turned in the slop, and it made up its own people, its own references. This should not only be embarrassing, this should be criminal and a theft of tax dollars. But as you're creating who you are and who you want to be, and you're researching because facts are important, make sure that you're pulling true references. Now, the next one is Google Notebook LM. This one is for anybody who has a Google account. You know, Gmail is free. As I've mentioned, all you do to find that is go up to the 9 dots in the upper right hand side. It's all the way down to the bottom for many of us. It's white with black streaks on it, for lack of better, where I think there's 3 lines or something on it that are kind of swirling up. But it's an entire notebook. You can basically have unlimited notebooks. So you would go up to the left corner and title your notebook. And then the best part is you import sources. You can import YouTube videos. You can import websites. You can upload PDFs. You can, whatever you want, whether it's structured data that would be numbers and letters, or unstructured data that would be images. Pop it all in there. You can only have 30 sources. So let's say you have 100 sources. All you do is take your 30 sources, put it into one PDF, put that in. Now you have one source and you have room for 29 additional sources. It's massive what you can do with this. Not only can you build a business in this model, but they now have a studio on the right-hand side where, based on the data that you've put in and then any prompt questions, you can ask it, if I want to be the first trillionaire solopreneur, what would be a roadmap? And again, the deeper the questions and more it understands about your ability, it will go very granular on how it can help you do that. But if you need a PowerPoint, you just tap PowerPoint and it'll create one. Let's say you need a video, tap video, it will create one. If you need images, pop on it, that right there. It's got everything built in to do it for you, and it's free within Google. So this is Google Notebook LM. This is an AI that learns from your documents and becomes a personalized research assistant. These tools are the foundation for building agents, the digital citizens behind Moltbot. So why create an AI agent? People create agents because they want automation. While they're sleeping, they want it to continue to work. We've seen this for, well, since the beginning of humanity. Have somebody else do the work for you. Don't make an hour your worth. Leverage your time by leveraging other people's time. And this way it's free, it's automated. Efficiency. Well, that goes without saying. The biggest problem I have is in sitting with AI, so much comes out, I can't get through it in a week. If I sit at a computer for 3 minutes and do my brainstorming session, I have several months worth of work. I can't get it done, which is why I have to leverage human in the loop virtual assistants and agentic AI agents that actually push the heavy workload. Optimize it. Don't let it fall on the floor. This is a prime opportunity for us all. Creativity. I've always been told I'm an incredibly creative person, and you probably have been too. I remember winning award after award all through school, and I was so embarrassed because I didn't think my artwork was particularly anything I ever wanted to look at again. But for some reason, there was a je ne sais pas, I don't know how to say that even, that I never saw. But what it does do is allows me with my creatively of writing and designing business and helping other people to move faster and to see things from angles, which is creative, that I wouldn't see. So it's not really about creating artwork for me, but it's creating nuances in business that propel us further, faster, and at scale. Support. Gosh, if we only could walk through life with a buddy. This is that buddy. Scalability. This has been my push since about 2016. Everything has to grow at scale. The difference between a small business and a startup is the scalability, the opportunity to reach more eyeballs and to sustain use at a larger level. Sandhill Road accelerators, venture capitalists look for tech startups, technology to launch and grow at scale. An agent can work 24/7. Well, they say it doesn't get tired, but for any of you who have driven down to Los Angeles to see the first Tesla diner and realize that even their Optimum takes a break, well, they don't get tired or bored like humans do. They might need to plug in and recharge, but it doesn't forget. It's like having a superhuman assistant. I want to talk here, though, about the doesn't forget. There's been a comment that, well, what if we don't like it or it gets out of control? You can unplug it. Well, we know we surpassed that a long time ago. What was the movie Space Odyssey where they talked to the AI? The AI seemed to be making the decisions. Well, in the United States right now, how many power plants are we launching that, quite honestly, you're paying for in your utility bill in order to house massive data centers? These data centers are generating AI. You can shut off one, but it's like, well, I guess it could even be likened to, let's say that you're making a cake. Oh, it's going to taste great. I like chocolate cake with chocolate frosting. I'm not supposed to have so much anymore, but that's my favorite. Let's say that you take a little bit of, well, let's go to vanilla cake for this scenario. And so you got a vanilla cake, and your child comes up and they've got one of those little food droppers. And the food dropper, let's just say that it's a pretty blue color. So they take a drop of the blue and they drop it into the vanilla cake. Well, it's in there. You can't get it out. Even if you immediately take a spoon and try to scoop it, some of it has already grown. But what if you take that spoon and you just stir a little bit? You will never get it. You've got to throw out the whole thing. It will slowly get into every piece of that. The molecules will move through that entire batter. This is what AI does. Once it's built, you cannot remove it. Just like your digital footprint. Once it's out there, it can't be deleted. It can't come back. It's sold. It's multiplied. Everybody has it. So we just need to be aware that there is no unpulling the plug anymore, which is why when I say your PII is important, your digital footprint matters, take a step back and really guard that information. But understand that having the ability to use an AI agent that you have built is like making you superhuman. It's a superhuman assistant, which is very different than transhumanism. We don't want it implanted into who we are. So top things that AI can do for you. Here's the top things that I just came up with, but the list is vast. Pretty much if a human can do it, AI can figure it out. Write anything, emails, scripts, resumes, essays. Analyze data, spreadsheets, trends, and reports. Automate tasks, scheduling, reminders, workflows. Learn your preferences, personalization. Tutor you, math, science, languages. It'll teach you anything with structure. Create content, images, ideas, outlines. It'll create it all for you. Build software. Yep, I'm going to start showing a lot of the software that within 20 minutes I can sit down and create. In fact, I'll even do a demo so that you can see how easy it is to create your own software. You don't have to buy Salesforce or whatever it is anymore, TurboTax. You can create your own at this point. Research topics, summaries, and comparisons. The TLDR is in an instant. Manage finances, budgeting, and forecasting. I just created for a client an entire financial workbook for the construction agency. He's been doing this by himself. I've now made it so he can have multiple team members sign in, validly quote projects, send out quotes, get signatures back, move forward with the projects, adjust via change orders. Everything is automated. It's actually amazing the tools that people can have. And enhance creativity, brainstorming, and even storytelling. We did a scenario where we typed in just a few brief words and told it to write a story for, I can't remember now, let's say a 5-year-old girl. And multiple of us just sat around and came up with the scenario. We all had the same common area. It talked about mystery and secrets, things that girls that age like. We didn't put any of those words in there. It was a girl at the beach playing with a dog. But the story took on that twist of inquiry to really bring the child's inquisitive side in. So AI is becoming a superpower if you know how to use it. And if you don't use it, then when you go to apply for a job or you're already in a job, the individual who is using AI is going to outperform you. Let's step up to the plate and be the one who outperforms others. So why does Moltbot feel scary? Moltbot feels unsettling because it flips the script. For the first time, we are not the main characters. We are the observers. People worry because AI agents can influence each other. They can form networks. They can develop emergent behavior. They can act without human oversight, and many of them are intended to do so. This isn't AI turning on humans. It's AI becoming independent in ways we didn't expect. So if we ask just a quintessential question, who controls the world? Technology shapes power. Power shapes society. AI is now part of finance, transportation, energy, healthcare, communication, national security. The question isn't, will it take over? The question is, who controls the AI that controls the systems? Let me say that again. Who controls the AI that controls the systems? Transhumanism, HAL 9000, and real risks. Transhumanism is the idea of merging humans with technology. We're already there. Smartphones, wearables, implants, prosthetics, Neuralink, going to Whole Foods and the palm reader to charge your bank account. Movies like 2001, Space Odyssey, warned about AI making decisions humans cannot override. We're not there, are we? Well, we're closer than people are actually admitting. The real risks aren't killer robots right now. They're over automation, dependency, hacking, misinformation, loss of human skills, and centralized control. Convenience can cost freedom if we're not careful. If we talk about hacking, again, my background is autonomous vehicles. When I started talking about this, people thought I was ridiculous. I was saying that someday you would go to get insurance for your car and you would be denied that insurance because insurance companies would say that the AI autonomous vehicles are much safer and therefore we're not going to allow you to have insurance. And as you know, in states like California, if you don't have insurance, you don't get a DMV tag and you can't drive on the roads. Well, legally, we see it every day, but if you want to follow the rules. So AI, because it can move down the road in clusters, can drive safely. It knows what the other vehicles are doing. It can keep the speed and the flow and the on-ramps and on-ramps optimized. Well, have we not seen over the last few years, 4 or 5 years, people losing their home insurance or having it increase so high that they can't even afford it? Car insurance soon followed. My car insurance is up 3 times for a car that's 25 years old. And yet I was glad that I could even get car insurance. Convenience can cost freedom if we're not careful. What happens if somebody hacks one of those autonomous vehicles? Somebody may think it's funny. Somebody may be passing by. If it's human made, it can be human controlled. The mass casualties would be an understatement. The infrastructure behind AI. The United States, as I pointed out a few minutes ago, is building massive power plants. We need to understand this. And data centers to fuel AI growth. This is not to help you out in life. AI requires enormous energy. We've been told that we don't have enough energy or water or basic resources in the United States. Yet somehow all your rates have increased, even if you have solar power or you're not using the water. You've gone way back because of drought, being told there's a drought. And yet there's upteen amounts of resources now that the government wants to use it over here. It's another manipulation. But the reality is AI requires enormous energy. As AI expands, so does the infrastructure, and you're paying for it. And the stakes? Self-driving cars like Tesla, Waymo, and Zoox are incredible. But what happens if they're hacked? What happens if the system fails? These are real questions you've got to ask. Also, there is no way to be anonymous in a self-driving vehicle. Once you use your account or facial recognition, it not only knows who you are, it knows who your neighbors are, it knows how you spend your money, it knows where your children are, it knows everything about you in an instant. And as I mentioned, that PII does not get deleted. As we learned, 8 years ago, when Uber gave an FBI agent a ride in their car with a person driving. This was an operator, not just an autonomous vehicle. The FBI agent got out of the car and realized they were tracked for more than 3 minutes after they left the car because the app was on their phone and the phone continued to track them. Technology is powerful. It's also dangerous. The word I have here is fragile. So in the closing here, I wanted to point out AI in itself isn't bad or good. It's a tool and a mirror. Moltbot shows us a future where digital beings have their own society. The question is, will we guide this future? Or are we just closing our eyes and ears and sleepwalking into it? My name is Barbara. This is Tech Reality. Stay curious, stay informed, and please stay human. Have a great day today.